Well, hello out there in the internet. I'm back on YouTube doing anime breakdowns. In case you've been living under a rock this past year, the video game industry's been in a shithole. I happen to work in that said shithole. But if there's one thing that I need to be doing more of is more content on YouTube. We're back with another animation breakdown, and this time we're talking about Queen Dezay from Guilty Gear. So apparently some of you were really upset by my latest Slayer video, saying that I don't know what the hell dandy means. Listen to me, children. I'm a professional animator, and I don't have to tell you that I've already got 14 years of experience working in the game industry. Look it up. Here's the thing about the videos. I'm critiquing the art and the animation of it all, not the video game itself. So for all you gearheads out there who want to slam me, guess what? I'm going to do it again. Guilty Gear has already released their Season 4 pack. We already know the characters that are coming out, and one at a time, they're going to be critiqued animation style. So with that said, let's get to it. Alright, time to critique mildly suggestive themes.
I'm not scared anymore.
Me neither.
Now we can face ourselves head on.
Alright. Season 4.
This power won't bring me down. Not this time. I will stop you.
Nice articulation in the close-ups.
Things might not
Queen of
change for
compassion.
now, but
Whoa.
maybe they might. Given both
Alright, they're
possibilities,
projectiles.
isn't it natural to believe what you want to believe? Oh! Ah!
She's got a little squirrel
As a
friend.
parent, should I scold him or reason with him? It's so difficult to decide. I won't let you bear your burdens alone.
There's a lot of shit
My
happening
job
to
is
this
to make that a
character.
reality, no matter what may come. Just please, keep an eye out for me.
Nice. And this is, of course, the Season 4 pack of the roadmap that's happening with all these characters that are coming through. Very interesting piece right there. Some Zelda stuff. So let's start at the beginning. Not gonna lie, my first impression of this is pretty clear cut. They clearly had enough time to really put enough thought, polish, and love into these simple yet detailed animations too. Right off the bat, this character has a lot of hand articulation. Knowing that the hands are the second most communicative form of expression in a person's body, they have to be very articulated. They have to be given a lot of time and a lot of polish in order to make it look fluent. Normally a cliche pose in animation is having the nice little rub your fingers through your hair or clearing your fingers out of your hair. This character clearly has something to do with her hair that's actually working pretty good towards her character. They're actually currently articulating one finger at a time, using the nice flail to show nice profile, and even their little bird friend on the side too gets a whole lot of love. Extra points for this close-up shot. But they actually have a lot of things that are happening. We draw our eyes to the hands that are in motion, messing with the flower. The face is also taking a look at us too. So this is a really great shot that's taking our eyes around what's happening here. Who's picking at his armpit, which is transferring our eye line to her eyes, which is looking to the hands, which is spiraling around and bringing a lot of attention to the flower too. That's very, very good use of screen space and very, very good articulation of eyes wandering around a frame too. They didn't hold back. They actually animated this bird with nice good frames of launching and taking off. Very nice use of the hand splay that's opening through here. Face going over here. There's nice curvature. There's nice movement. There's nice direction that's happening through here as well. Very nice strong opening. And I think this is where we're actually getting to the meat and potatoes of who this character is. She looks like she has these summons with her too that have like very, very interesting notorieties. One has like a clean animation face with there's a jawline, and the other one has a giant nemesis jawline too with no lips at all. But I really, really enjoy how there's different personalities between one or the other. One nicely caresses her hands as she's enjoying that. Ho ho. The hand placement is covering her hand at a very, very nice square shape. That's a pleasant shape that fits together yet is not symmetrically perfect. And then when we go to the other guy right here too, of course he breaks this chain by just putting this giant gangly finger. Notice all the negative space that we have between this connection to how they're having this shape and establishing who this character is. twisted, broken, hard angles. And then of course we see in her expression that this is almost sort of like the devil and the angel, in my opinion. Both sides of her subconscious, her personality, who knows? I'm sure you guys are going to correct me in the comments. This shot right here, it's a really nice squeeze medium shot. I almost would prefer if this side would be a little bit more cleaner, as we see in these nice shapes, versus this shot, which actually would be a nice little bit more broken. Kind of show a little bit more of the twisty, bendy, shows a clear difference between the left and the right side of this shot. Both of these characters really enhance a lot of screen space through here. We start getting same color lines of black on white on black on white. If you were to take the focal length and pull it out a little bit more, that way that you would get like a wider shot of these characters, of their features, such as the halo or the wings. And what's funny is we start to get a hint of that shot right towards the end, and then the character bleeds out into a lens flare, I think really too early. Looking at the color and the design of this character, I'm not upset with it though, but one thing that does kind of bleed into everything that she's doing that gets lost in translation for me is just the amount of white on top of white that they got. She has white robes here, they have long white robes, they have white feathers, white robes, and just looking at it from a contrast point of view, the only thing that's really splitting this is her blue hair and her pink eyes as well too. I'm almost thinking if you were to incorporate some of these colors, such as the blue hair, into some of these features, whether it be a sleeve or maybe a glove or maybe like a torso corset, maybe there's more of a bluish gray type of hair set on one character, and maybe like an altercation of the pink on the other character too. It really help out with the contrast of the different shapes of these characters, but more visually understanding which one is which when it comes to the basic red versus blue instead of black and white on type of black. On to the gameplay. Alright, got some starter chain combos on there too. There's a lot of things happening with this character. Looks like her idle pose is her facing forward, idle forward, with her profile standing in front of camera. This is Guilty Gear style, where most of the characters are already doing this, so this is no surprise. So it looks like it goes into a animation cancel right into a new attack. There's very few keyframes that are showing this transition. They have maybe one to two frames of going from pose A to pose B, and on the strike it's clearly two keyframes that get muddled up in motion blur, but we do read this giant slash projectile attack. So there's a couple of anim cheats that they're doing in here in order to get to that heavy impact. Even though it does look cool, it comes off as more of a projectile and her actually swinging something. So I think like maybe like a frame or two more into that would actually help out a lot. Don't get me wrong, this attack looks really cool. The effects are very up front and center. There is a lot of hitbox that's happening throughout here as well too. So I'm not going to deduct the points for that, but the transitions I feel could use a little bit more work and a little bit more articulation. This is a really cool pose. They have two counter arcs that are happening through here, one through here, and the other that's happening through her little demon buddy right here. I don't know what her arms are doing, but I'm clearly looking at this guy. I love the effects of this little bright halo that's circling and showing where our eyes should be looking at, and it's showing a projectile fire that she's got. This is so cool, giving us enough time to actually digest what's happening in this movement. A nice ease in. We clearly hit this pose that's going from like a nice straight arc to a really pushed pose in the matter of like 6 or 5 frames, followed by all this nice secondary motion that's happening with the cloth, the hair, the dress. Feels really good. And this of course is her dash, her movement forward. The animators didn't spend any more money than they needed to, followed by all of her extensions that show off the enormity of her design, which feels really cool, followed by another, like, looks like a quick attack, quick jab that's coming through here. Not quite sure what this is, sort of like an ice blade or something like that. I love seeing how we see a clear profile of her demon buddy through here. I think this could be enhanced by actually showing maybe a little bit more of that break that I was enjoying earlier, but showing a little bit more of a clear anticipation pose from. I would love to see some kind of indication that really kind of shows us what's happening in this arm cross pose. So like again, for instance, some shoulder guards or wrist guards. you know, pushing everything out too. Maybe just a little bit of rim glow. Poses like this, I could see when I'm pausing, I can't make out that one hand is on top of the other arm too, without that nice outline or that indication of what's really showing up on this character. And normally with characters with 4 arms, it's really clear that you have to pose control both these arms in order to show where the character is going. You don't have to make the arms one-on-one perpendicular with each other, but make it just enough to where the lines are breaking, going from one diagonal to another diagonal and showing off what the hands are doing. Both are going in the same direction, while overall shape is pointing within this direction to show another attack. It feels fucking dope. And I freaking love this pose right here too, like her bending into camera. That's really helping out a lot. You have a nice little pose change that's going through, followed by the porpoise that's coming around. That's really, really nice, good perspective. Here we got like a nice little close-up. All the fingers don't come at once. The way a spread finger hand should actually curl into. Pinky first, followed by a ring, catching up with the middle finger, followed by the index, and using these nice poses by not keeping everything all one-to-one with no gaps, but picking how many fingers you want to expose. This is with 3, really emphasizing the eyes and the face and the features that this character has. Normally when people see me critique animations, they think it has to move and it has to go crazy in order for me to get excited. This is a great example of less is more, bitches. Hits a pose, the face is expressing how she feels, followed by all this life and movement with the flowers, the hair, the little snowflakes that are happening around her to keep the shot alive too. The glimmer in her eyes that are moving, and I'm very curious to know what is up with the side of this face as she's settling too. I've noticed that this face is kind of morphing. This line of the face is kind of morphing through here as she gets in. There's a little bit of stretch where the cheek gets a little bit chubbier through here, and then as it's coming up, I noticed that this chin line right here is kind of moving in and out and breaking on this part. It kind of feels a little wobbly through there, which is kind of a weird effect that's really kind of bothering me too. I don't know why her face and her jawline gets rubbery all of a sudden. Feels kind of like underwater, and it feels like there's no real structure underneath that chin. But that's the only thing that really sticks out to me in this shot. This is her transition. She just kind of stays in one pose. The camera pans in. All she does is open her eye. Like she has a little, the screen transition kind of felt a little dead to me. But there's a little bump right through here that I kind of felt. Obviously, nobody really notices it until you frame by frame it. But looking at kind of where the face is going through screen space and then stopping and going back again, that's like a bump in animation. So if you feel that as it's going, it doesn't feel clean all the way through. Like you'll notice that the head rotates within one frame and then freezes. The only thing that's really moving is her eyes through here. It's slowly opening up, and they don't even do what I was talking about with the last close-up, is utilize the hair, the clothes, the flowers around here to give some secondary life animation to this at all. So this transition, in my opinion, really sucks, and it's really dead. There's not really any articulation through this. And don't give me the shit that this is just part of the character enjoying herself. No, this is dead animation. Very easy transition from A to B that can be done in minutes. This is a cool pose through here. I love how they're actually bringing the legs in and using the skirt as part of the line of action to really show how this attack is being handled. They're putting the hair back into the body and morphing it into like this nice round shape, so everything doesn't have to be too over the top, such as this. Her arms and what she's doing is just getting cluttered by all this secondary shit again that's happening through here. So might be more of a thing where maybe like she brings her hands out more through here through a nice profile, a little bit more, possibly bringing this sword arm up a little bit. Nice big strong upper shoulder direction. Hats off to the nice little simple animations with a squirrel and a tail. Usually first time animators are treated to the bouncing ball followed by a tail hitting to a bouncing ball. So imagine if you're seeing the squirrel's body as a ball followed by this tail to show nice secondary action. And on twos, really playing around with the direction followed by the tail of the squirrel. Feels really good. Nice simple shapes. Nice little cute moment with this character. This is cool. I love all these really sharp poses. Love these strong poses through here. Not using both arms to indicate perpendicular transitioning, but breaking them up into different direction to create an overall really cool pose. I love how the character, nice bendy twisty arcs for two people is really interesting that I haven't even thought about too. Have a nice little swipe pose here with the arm followed by like a giant uppercut. And the cool thing is that I really like about this pose too is that the character grows throughout the transition. So your little demon buddy comes out here. Notice how he's kind of one-to-one with Queen Dizzy, and through the animation attack he grows bigger and bigger and really bigger, utilizing that mouth to kind of show he is kind of a secondary character that takes place behind Queen Dizzy, and utilizing his approach and his appearance to the attack by growing bigger, I think works out really well with these transition attacks here. This grab feels cool. I kind of almost want to see a little bit more of this crazy guy right here. He's roaring at the person as they're grabbing it too. I think they could really play around with the enhancements, not just the hand itself, but also the face to really show off who this guy is and how maniacal he is. This is like one of her supers right here. Interesting how they're just using this flat out Piccolo pose followed by a projectile. Funny thing, looking at this coming in, it actually looks like Piccolo getting shot by Nappa. This is why I love Arc Systems, because they work their cameras really well. They come in with a nice medium close-up to a crash zoom. A lot of lighting effects that are happening through here, and I'm almost, this is just me critiquing it, I'm almost wanting to see more of her face and stop really bleaching these close-up shots out with all this light. It looks like there's a lot of great animation that's happening through here. The articulation of the face, the eyes, the brows, the hair. I love how the Shadow Man's hands are coming in. That's kind of like protecting her. I almost wish that we didn't have all this stuff, because I'd really love to see more of this hand instead of these wings, to show that it's clearly this guy protecting her. Where we pull out, then we can see the giant wing shot that's actually covering both of them. This shot could be pushing this guy off to the left side a little bit more, followed by Queen Dizzy, our angel guy, back here too. Almost kind of like a final Kamehameha shot, and then a super close-up shot of her eyes. This is by far the coolest fucking shot in this trailer, really showing the emphasis not only on the close-up of the eyes, but showing all the nice little small articulations of the hair strands moving, highlights in her irises, squashing and stretching, and zeroing in and out. Most people think this looks like an easy shot to do. It is not, especially with all these small little details. And of course, when they push out, this is more that I'm looking for. I just think a lot of the light blue on blue is really taken away from the fact that these guys are in such a cool pose. I love seeing these hand poses. They went to town on these hand poses, but I just feel like maybe a little bit more contrast or maybe more different shades of blue would really help out. I feel that this is an awesome splash page shot that shows all these characters. I just think there should be a little bit more contrast between the colors in order to really emphasize and show off these characters as they're completed.
I think overall Queen Dizzy is an excellent addition to the roster, especially with her game mechanics, her setup, the way that she displays with her two ghost buddies. A lot of the posing is really working for me, especially when it comes to her projectiles. Though some of her designs, especially the black on white on black, gets a little bit lost in some of the most advanced movements that she does. And with the projectiles and the giant screen flashes, really makes it obsolete to see to the naked eye. I would like to see a little bit more visuals when it comes to her posing routines. And some of the things like her transition pose was very dead, which left me disappointed considering the rest of her library is far more detailed. But like the subtle moments of her hair, the keep alive, and the gleam in her eye brings a lot of personality and charm over to her animation. There's a few small things that caught my eye, especially with some of the movement in the hair and some of the cheek deformalities. Putting all that together with the extreme polish in the close-ups and yet some of the lackluster animation when it comes to in-game and transitions too, I'm going to land on a 7. Animating 3 characters plus furry friend creatures is a lot of work. I think that she's a great addition to the roster, and I look forward to trying her out.
So that's my Queen Dizzy review. I went on way too much longer than I was supposed to. If you enjoyed this video and my animation breakdowns, please let me know in the comments down below. Consider subscribing. Help a brother out. It's hard being an artist and an animator out in this world. Give me a like, give me a follow, give me a share, give me a subscribe. Please, I'll enjoy it. That's all I got to say, and I'll see you in the next animation review. Later.